Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com here with the evolutionary astrologer Mila, who will share with us what is the significance, evolutionary significance of having two full moons within 30 days in the same sign. This is a very, very rare. We call it sometimes like blue moon, once in a blue moon, that they will be in the same sign. Two full moons in Capricorn. There must be a spiritual reason behind it for us. What can we take out of it? Hello, Mila.
Hi, Lada. Nice to see you again. Yeah, it's very interesting because, of course, this year is special with regards to Capricorn flavor because we have 4 lunations in Capricorn. We started this year with new moon in Capricorn. We will close this year with the new moon in Capricorn, and we have 2 full moons in Capricorn that are literally half in the year because this a full moon is happening in the first half of the year on 1 degree, and the second full moon will be happening in the second half of the year on 29 degrees. And just the fact that this year is the year number 8, 2024 adds up to number 8, is the number associated with Saturn and Jupiter, which is all about this expansion through taking responsibility, through stepping into our own authority, inner authority, and becoming conscious creators of reality. So these two full moons in Capricorn, and especially because of the degree, how the degree is so drastically different. With this 1 degree is still being squared by Neptune. Everything that entered the sign of Gemini made a trine to Pluto, which is all about supporting our evolution. We're going into this new direction. We need to start identifying reality differently, and then exiting Gemini prior to moving into Cancer, everything made a square to Neptune, which is saying about this letting go of the old versions of ourselves, of the old labels, of the old limited beliefs and ways here are existing in this world, because otherwise we keep recreating the same patterns, copy paste. And this Pluto frequency, which we are stepping into, we have only 1 more retrograde into Capricorn, again 29 degrees. It's all these 29 degrees. At the beginning of the year, we talk about the last conjunction Saturn and the last conjunction between Pluto and Sun in the sign of Capricorn in our lifetime. So it's all this culmination, which is saying that ready or not, we're going in a new direction. And I feel these 2 full moons in Capricorns are very important because in between the 2 of them is the new moon in Cancer. And the new moon in Cancer represents the rebirth of the identity of who we are becoming. Our inner landscape is changing. So throughout this Cancer season that is being entered into with the full moon in Capricorn and exited from with the full moon in Capricorn, we are becoming someone completely different. The way we identify ourselves and connecting with the world inside and outside of us is shifting. And this is because it's right on time. It's meant to be happening this way.
It feels that when you were describing it, the whole year surrounded by Capricorn start ending, and now the spirit of a month again, full moon in new moon in Cancer, sandwiched between 2 Capricorn full moons. Is kind of like 2 hard places in a soft middle, kind of feeling softness, but almost like this Capricorn energy might be protecting on both sides, because it's like a wall. Capricorn has the energy of a wall of this new soft thing of Cancer, like you said, new consciousness that Cancer creates, that's coming, but at the same time dissolving gradually those walls, because full moons are about completions.
Yeah, illumination, but also I feel it as a container, that these full moons in Capricorn are creating like a container for this new soul to be like brought online, you know, because
that's exactly how it felt to me when you were describing it.
Yeah, like it's like the container that is like creating a space for this metamorphosis to happen, because as we know, the new moon in Capricorn at the beginning of the year was the skip step. It was squaring the nodes and it was conjunct Pluto, and so will be the new moon in Cancer. So it's the other side of the same coin, but this time the resolution node will be the north node. Until, you know, when we had the Capricorn season, everything squaring the nodes from the point of Capricorn, including Pluto for the entire last year, was pointing to the south node, which is what we are evolving, what we are moving away from. And
so like
it was
more like endings, while now it's switching more like
exactly
beginnings.
and I feel that the switch happened in Aries season with the Sun conjunct in North Node and the solar eclipse in Aries that happened in a new phase conjunction in North Node. That's where everything got reset. And now we see in the illumination of that which got seeded in January, and with the new moon in Cancer, that is the one sandwich between the two full moons in Capricorn, is once again being squared by, it's conjunct Pluto and it's squaring the nodes, but it's pointing to the North Node. So it's saying it's time to move forward. We cannot keep looking backwards all the time and continuously identify ourselves through the lens of the past and history, and then all we do is keep reliving it. It's time to move forward. And I also feel that a very important part of that is the squares to Chiron that will be happening throughout Cancer season. Mercury is squaring Chiron, then subsequently Venus. Actually, Venus is squaring Chiron on the new moon in Cancer, and then Sun will be squaring Chiron. And this is what's bringing out these wounds that needs healing in each and every single one of us, because whether they are our own from this lifetime or the unhealed wounds from the ancestor line or the collective, because of course Cancer, it's all coming up because it's, you know, the roots, the ancestor line, the human collective, Akashic, you know, the history of human, you know, everything that happened before, the soup of everything, it's all coming up for us to look at, to feel, to release, to integrate, to transmute and transcend, so we can move into this new direction. And that's why this second full moon in Capricorn on 29 degrees will be actually sextile by Neptune. There will be a sextile, whereas now we have a square. It will be sextile by Neptune. And by the time we even have the new moon in Cancer, both Saturn and Neptune are retrograde, because Saturn is stationed in retrograde now on the 29th of June, and then Neptune subsequently on 2nd of July. So this is even more taking us inwards. The retrograde planets from evolutionary astrology, as we already previously covered, it's taking us inwards. It's accelerated path of evolution, because we have to focus on our inner world, because the reality as we are experiencing is created from inside out. So the more we reconnect with our intuition, inner guidance, and our soul's path, really, the more we start creating reality consciously, and reality that is in alignment with our unique soul's path, which is very Aquarian. It's like, it's about individuation. It's about, we all came here to have a unique purpose and be a unique expression of the source. We didn't come here to be copy-paste and keep reliving the same circumstances and drugging the same trauma and wounding from generation to generation, no matter where you're born in a world. That is ending. Is this Saturn in Pisces, Saturn going retrograde, Neptune going retrograde. Neptune is hanging on for dear life on 29 degrees because it's not moving until next year. So it's like we're not quite ready. That's why I feel we need these two full moons in Capricorn as the container, as the safe space to allow for this metamorphosis of the soul within to come online, to be transmuted, like
and
the
in
ego self.
ancient astrology, Cancer is represented like a vortex, and the square of evolution is very much connected with the evolution of the soul, the sign. Thank you for saying it. It seems that evolutionary astrology is the same. Would you say that those two containers, the first Saturn full moon, which is square Neptune, and the second one is sextile Neptune, would you say that now it will start confusing at the beginning? Now it's like June 21st, 22nd, and then towards when the next full moon is in full moon in Capricorn it will become more clear because of the trauma.
Yeah, because with the square, it always creates the pressure, you know, and with regards to Sun, that made the square to Neptune, because Sun is special, it's always the center place. So when we look with regards to phases of the transits, when Sun squares the planet, in this case it was Neptune, even though it was the first square since their conjunction, it has the flavor of the closing square, because Sun is the center stage, therefore Neptune is behind the Sun. So it's like a closing square, like the waning square, which has the quality of crisis in consciousness, something that needs to be released, you know, release in a like, we need to let go of something in order for the cycle to end. But for Mercury Neptune and Venus Neptune, it was a first quarter square, which is a crisis in action, We need to take an action on something. So we need to do something. We actually need to change something in our reality. So with this Neptune square in the moon, so the moon, of course, is being in a sign of Capricorn. So that is behind Neptune. So there's the closing square sun. This is closing square, is the crisis in consciousness. So throughout the Cancer season, we need to release the old identity, the old labels, and everything that is holding us back. And whatever is going to be happening throughout Cancer season is going to make it very felt. Like not necessarily tangible, but very felt. There will be a lot of floods of emotion. So that's why I feel this square to Chiron is very important, because whatever we'll be experiencing throughout Cancer season, it will be very emotional. It will bring these emotions to the surface. So we have to make a change. We need to acknowledge that, okay, this is or isn't working for me. There is something that I am, like attached to or over-identified with, whether it's whatever label or identity or a version of myself that I cannot let go of, but is it still serving me? It will be a lot of reconnection to our inner world rather than outer world, because Cancer season is a yin energy. So it's like everything is going to be like pointed inwards. Even Mars, as the ruler of the North Node, is in Taurus. And I know from traditional astrology, they always say Mars is in detriment in Taurus, but actually this is the perfect place for Mars to be. Because whereas we are being overwhelmed with all this emotion, we need that grounding. We need that something earthy to ground us, because otherwise we would just go being taken away with the flood of water. Like it's just too much, So Mars being a sign of Taurus in this case is very good for us, because it's allowing us to create the new foundation. So going back to this Neptune and the second full moon in Capricorn, Neptune will be sextile in it. And this is with regards to moon to Neptune. It will be obviously Capricorn to Neptune in Pisces is the closing sextile. And this is the Aquarian flavor, which is like we are breaking free from something. So again, whatever it is that's going to be showing up in collective or individual experience, it's going to create so much emotional pressure that we need to change something. Something need to let go, because of course then subsequently we will enter into Leo season, and that's stepping into our purpose. What did you come here to be? What did you come here to become? But when we are still overwhelmed by all these labels and identities that were projected and we then adopted because of the collective, program and conditioning, if I don't know who I really am, I don't know what is my purpose, which is why majority of people say, I don't know what is my purpose, because most people don't even know who they are, because we were being brought up to become whatever the external world wants us to be. If you want to be successful, you need to look like this, you need to do this, you need to have this, you need to say this. It's all these rules that the matrix created, as a part of the game for us to evolve and grow and expand. That we need to like tick all these boxes to be societal acceptable, but in this process we lost ourselves. Like, who am I really if I remove all these expectations of the outer world, the Libra, the external? And this is what this Cancer is doing, is making us to go inward and realize that for each and every single one of us, because the answers are hiding within, it's not going to come from someone else. And that's why then with the sextile to Neptune, with that second full moon in Capricorn, we'll be releasing it, we'll be breaking free out of it.
Oh, beautiful, beautifully explained. I wanted to say something more about this first new moon, full moon in Capricorn, which is on the 21st.
Yeah, it's happening tonight, literally.
Okay.
Yeah, tonight.
I want to say something because it has an influence of, of 2 weeks at least. It's happening in the most destructive constellation into the galactic center. It's the most creative and most destructive. And in Vedic astrology is known as Mula, the root of everything, because all our galaxy comes from the galactic center. It's created from there. It has the most creative and most destructive energies, and it's ruled this full moon by a goddess Niriti, which is a goddess of destruction. So whatever you were saying, that what do we need to destroy and let go and kind of to disassemble in our life, full moon will really help us. But because the Capricorn energy, I think it will be controlled destruction. There will be controlled disassembling. but there might be a feeling that people say, and like you said, you're feeling it, that your life is starting to really disassemble.
Yeah.
Old, and you're not quite sure. Neptune is square. Where you are heading, what is next? Maybe with the sextile of Neptune with the second full moon in Capricorn, you'll have more clarity as well. And I'm saying this for people also. That's the whole month ahead that you mapped out for us.
Well, for me, the second full moon in Cancer is going to be trining my Mars. Oh, sorry, in Capricorn. It's going to be trining my Mars. So that's going to give me some kick in the butt, like, okay, we can go ahead now. But yeah, it's very interesting because I actually just recorded this morning prior to our Zoom call. I recorded astrological forecast for next week, and I pulled some cards. And the cards that came up from 3 different decks was a card of like deception. Like, what are we either being lied about or we lying to ourselves? And then there was this throat chakra, you know, like the self-expression and, you know, like this honesty. Like, you know, it's time for us to be honest with ourselves and to face the truth. Like the truth that's actually, as we know, truth is Sagittarius, is mutable. It's different thing for different people, but what is your truth? What is your truth? Because we know Sagittarius comes before Capricorn, so whatever you believe in the manifest. You know, and also the throat chakra, especially like with human design, it's the center of manifestation, because the spoken word creates the reality. So that's why how they say we casting spells, you know, when people are not conscious about what they're saying and keep repeating or keep like, you know, nasty self-talk and stuff, this keeps perpetuating the same suffering, the same pattern, because actually the throat chakra is how we put the energy outward that then manifests. So the thoughts and then the spoken word, it also manifests the reality. So I feel with this also, with what we consume, you know, the media and stuff, the information we are consuming, it has a huge impact of what then our reality is, what we manifest in. So with this Cancer Capricorn axis, whereas Cancer is, you know, your inner world, and it's also about this safety and security. Like, do we feel safe and secure within? Do we feel safe and secure being just with ourselves without all these external distractions? Because if we don't, we will always be reaching out for something outside of us to tell us what to do, like governments or religious institutions or something, to tell us like, hey, save me, tell me how to live my life, which is, you know, Cancer, like being a child. You know, we need someone to guide us. But now with these 2 full moons in Capricorns, and, you know, like Saturn and Neptune being in retrograde for the second one, and the new moon in Cancer, it's saying, no, the answers are within. This work has to be done within. This reconstruction, just like you said with this Mula, is a complete dismantling. And this is what I keep saying about the last Pluto retrograde into Capricorn, because once Pluto is done with the sign, it's dismantled. It's literally dismantled. So this is like where this year is so important, and this is why I feel we have so much Capricorn energy, because Capricorn is the structure, even though it is in Pisces after all, but it's still like holding, you know, even though we know the world is changing, the old structure is still holding. Because even though we might say, oh, I wish it was just all fallen apart tomorrow, but you don't really, because there is nothing yet to fully replace it. So then the world would just literally go crazy. It would be complete chaos. So we know things are changing, and it's all happening simultaneously. Already new alternatives are being created behind the scenes, which we don't necessarily all know about, but we know it's all happening. So this year, with this last Pluto retrograde into Capricorn, staying on 29 degrees, so technically Pluto will be on the same degree when we have the full moon in Capricorn number 2. This is holding on. It's still holding on, because it's giving us this time for this complete reconstruction and refurnishing of our inner landscape. So to find this sense of safety and security within, to become your Capricorn, to like reparent our inner child, face that which makes us feel insecure and unsafe and afraid, so we can take the responsibility for our life. So we don't go like, oh, I want this government to take care of me because I don't know how to do it for myself. In the age of Aquarius, which is the Aquarius comes after Capricorn. So for us, it's necessary to become our own Capricorn in order to set ourselves free. Because it's like how it goes, you know, like we cannot skip from one to the next. We need to embody all the signs that came before. So with the Aquarius, it requires for us to embody all the signs that came before, including Capricorn. So this is why I feel the Capricorn is so very important this year, because it's the last year when Pluto is entering Capricorn. And then it's Aquarius full stream ahead until 2043, 44. And then the training wheels are off for good. That's it.
Wonderful.
Would you like me to show some chart, Lada?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can have the visual? Because it might be easier for people to understand what we're talking about when they can actually see it. Okay, so this is the full moon in Capricorn #1, which is the one that's happening like literally tonight for us here in Bulgaria. And we can see very clearly the square from the Neptune, and also all these planets being clustered in the sign of Cancer. Mercury already is squaring the nodes, technically Venus as well, but the exact square is happening this weekend for Mercury, for Venus next week, and for Sun in July. And this is where the North Node is becoming the resolution node, which is where we're moving towards is the Aries, the new direction, the leadership qualities, it's just the passion to be able to show up and to go after it, no matter where it goes. It's like the fool's journey. It's starting all over again, and it's saying that, yeah, there is all these new horizons that we can be exploring. We know that Mercury is the ruler of Jupiter at the moment. So whatever Mercury is doing is impacting this Jupiter, and Jupiter is all about expansion, and Jupiter is in Gemini. It's about the choice. It's about creating new landscape, new experiences. It literally is about choosing your timeline, the timeline you're going to be experiencing going forward. And we can see is that there is the exacting conjunction between Pluto and Sun as the one half of the full moon. Pluto and Sun are having an exact in conjunction. So this is exactly like what we were describing and what I said that I am experiencing in my personal experience right now. Is the blind spot. We don't know, we can't see because we're not supposed to see, because things haven't happened yet that need to happen in a meanwhile in order for us to have more clarity, because this full moon is on 1 degree and there is a square by Neptune, so we don't see. Things are behind the veil. There could be this deceit, there could be these lies that we are attached to, that either we are being told or we tell ourselves. And then with the second, this is the Cancer new moon. So we can see by this point already both Saturn and Neptune are retrograde. And this Cancer new moon, that's the one that's wedging between the two full moons. Cancer new moon is the one that's going to be squaring the nodes. And in this, again, this time the resolution is the North Node. Mars at this time is preparing for his conjunction with Uranus, which will happen few days. Actually, it's happening on the 17th. So it's happening a few days after that. It's happening right before the second full moon in Capricorn. And like I said, Mars, in my opinion, being in Taurus is actually the perfect place where Mars needs to be in order to ground us. Mercury by this stage will be already in a sign of Leo, which will be helping us to tap into our sense of purpose. It's in opposition with this Pluto retrograde. So there needs to be a sense of balance, because we're still operating on what the consensus and the old structure of reality told us that we need to become. And this is what is our purpose, because the Cancer comes before Leo. So whatever we feel we are, and however we associate with the labels and identities that we attach to based on where we grow up, where we came from, what was our upbringing, that has an impact on our sense of purpose and destiny. But all of that is being rewritten at the moment. Jupiter, Pluto are still making a trine to one another, but it's really this new moon in Cancer that's going to flip the coin again, because like I said, at the beginning of the year when we had the new moon in Capricorn, was the skip step. And it was in conjunction with Pluto pointing to the South Node in Libra. Venus was in the sign of Sagittarius. It said it's time to expand. It's time to create a new story for ourselves. And now this is where things are on the other side. So the resolution is the North Node. It's saying, okay, we had these 6 months to reevaluate what it is, you know, from the external world that created the reality we are experiencing, where is the imbalance, what it is that needs to change. And now it's time to start looking forward. Rather than keep looking backwards, it's time to start looking forward, because Mars is just about to close the cycle between him and Uranus that started in summer 2022. It was at the time when both Uranus and Mars conjuncted North Node. At the time, Mars was in relation with the South Node because it's the traditional rule of Scorpio. That's where the South Node was at the time, 2022. So all that is being reset subsequently after this new moon. And then we are going to have the second full moon in Capricorn, the one that we will exit the Cancer season with, because Sun will move into the sign of Leo the next day. And we can see now everything is a little bit different over here. Again, we are conjuncting Pluto. This time, you know, there is no in conjunction. There is actually an opposition between Pluto and the Sun. The full moon is in conjunction with Pluto, but this time Pluto is still in the sign of Aquarius, unlike in January when it was on 29 degrees of Capricorn, almost the same place as where the moon is now, well, will be at the end of July. And this time, this full moon is actually supporting and being supported by both Uranus and Mars. So this is why I feel whatever is going to take place throughout this Cancer season and is going to make us to go through this process of internal metamorphosis and restructuring our inner world, our inner landscape, our sense of who we are, it is supporting us and is taking us exactly where we are going. It's taking us into these new timelines. This Mars is already here in the sign of Gemini, new phase conjunction with Uranus. And Gemini is the multidimensionality, is the multiple timelines, is the multiple choices that we can choose from, these opportunities of choice, rather than being told again by the matrix that this is the only way it can be. This is what everybody is doing. You have to do it too. You have no choice. But this is what's shifting here, because more and more people will start being disillusioned by the external way world operates, and people will start decentralizing, because that's technically what Pluto in Aquarius represents, decentralization. All these big institutions eventually will disappear. You know, all these, you know, like stuff like even European Union, they will not exist within next 20 years, because it's all about decentralization. It's about people coming into smaller groups and creating the realities that they want to be experiencing, not what somebody out there on the high horse, 5% of human population, decides this is going to be the experience for everyone, excluding ourselves, because we are the one in charge. We are the puppeteers, right? No, this is not going to hold anymore. The Aquarian age is very different from Capricorn age. There will be no hierarchy, but of course we know that this is not just going to disappear on its own and it's going to be easy. And this is why we have 4 lunations in Capricorn. It's say you need to become your own authority. You need to start trusting yourself and reparent your inner child, so you know you can, and listen to your inner intuition, your inner voice. And that's what this Mercury, you know, now as we speak, you know, this weekend, Mercury squaring the nodes from the sign of Cancer is doing. Mercury is the ruler of Jupiter. It's saying the way to expansion, the way to discovering the new timelines, new horizons, and having this completely different experience that might be very different from everybody else. But there's Aquarius. It's about individuation, about decentralization, about authenticity, opposition to Leo. That's what it is. We need to understand the language of our soul, and that which will help us and guide us to, you know, creating this new reality that we want to experience, whatever it is for everyone, you know, but it doesn't have to be the same thing. And that's the beauty of it, because this is the Aquarius. We all came here with a purpose, and the purpose, the key, and the, you know, this, answer to what it is within you. But we're never going to find it if we go looking for it outside and asking someone else, like, hey, what is this? What is my purpose? Because they're just going to project whatever they want, you know? So, yeah, so this new moon in Cancer, like I said, that's going to be the one in between. And then this full moon in Capricorn, very different story. Very different story. Both Venus and Mercury already in a sign of Leo. Leo about, you know, obviously before this moon, there's already going to be the opposition with Venus and Pluto as well. During the new moon in Cancer, there is an opposition between Pluto and Mercury. It needs a balance. We need to learn to listen to our heart, not just be logical all the time. And this is what we're learning in this Cancer season, these emotions. There has to be a balance, not to get lost just in a fairyland, but also to not disconnect with our heart and try to understand everything just from a logical mind, which is the archive of the past. The ego mind is the archive of the past. It only knows what already happens. That's why it gets scared when it's offered this unknown, because it doesn't know. So it's like it tries to save itself, it's trying to protect itself, and it's valid, but we're going beyond that now. We're going beyond because everything already conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, I mean, apart from Sun, but we had Mercury, Venus, Mars as the rule of the North and the South Node, and Mercury as the current ruler of Jupiter. Everything conjuncted Pluto in Aquarius this year. So this year, everything is shifting. It's not the same energy as it was a year ago. It's very different. So yeah, we can see that this full moon in Capricorn will be very supported because it's got all these beautiful trines from Mars and Uranus. There is also the sextile from Neptune. Also, Sun is having a sextile with Uranus still. So the only thing that's, you know, making this challenge is this Chiron, because Chiron is in Aries. It's still this, do you trust yourself enough to step into the unknown? And ready or not, will be either we leap or will be pushed, because these squares always creates a pressure that is needed for evolution to go forward.
Action. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mila. So in depth again. I'm excited. It's unusual. 2 full moons in the same sign, sandwiched new moon, and this new moon I see it as extremely powerful and beneficial, the Cancer one, because it's conjunct the star Sirius. Exactly.
Oh, nice.
And that's the star of where the strongest spiritual impulses for our planet come from, according to esoteric knowledge of teachers and masters. They say that all the teachers and masters of humanity have to pass through the school of Sirius. Maybe not literally there, but there is some kind of initiation to Sirius, just like the pyramids were pointing towards Sirius, because they knew that the high spiritual impulses come from there. So there will be this burst of insight around this new moon in between, sandwich between the Capricorn energy that will help the soul evolve like the energy of Cancer, what it wants. But anyway, thank you so much, Mila. I'll want to say, if whoever wants to be in touch with Mila, she's not just an astrologer. She says she just channels, and she's used astrology as an orientation tool, but she is kind of a channeling energy as well. And her information just flows and flows and flows, and you have months to untangle your reading and to follow every thread that she notices and listen to it for a long time to integrate all the information. Her services are below in the description, and I'm excited to hear and to see and feel already, as we're feeling it, those 3 lunations, as we call them. That the
and I also wanted to add that we are offering the 25% discount of all of my readings in honor of this Capricorn. So it makes it more affordable for people to connect, because I feel that throughout this Cancer season, and especially with the square to Chiron, there might be a lot of activations for a lot of people. So if they want some kind of guidance and support, again, you know, nobody can do it for you, but if you would like more understanding, then I'll be happy to assist.
Thank you so much for your gracious and generous offer. Again, link below in the description and in the cards. Whoever wants to connect with Mila. Thank you, Mila, again, for the incredible channeled insights about
Thank you, Lada.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.